Alright, Shalom. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Salutations to all the brothers and the few sisters out there unto the Israelite foreigners. From the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Shalom in the Hebrew, which means peace. It's going to be a quick show, Lord willing. Lord willing, brothers be edified through the spirit of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua. This is a beautiful subject, a beautiful article. I didn't even read the article, I just saw the headline. And that's something that we've been saying through the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua for ages. And now the people is catching up. And that's how it happens. Whatever happens to us, it happens. Good, bad, whatever. But we adapt to it. And as we go on, we get accustomed to the uncomfortability that the Lord had to put us in through. And we know how to deal with the situation. However, the people of the world who haven't been there now start to feel it, maybe months later, years later, whatever the case may be. And then when they see what we were seeing, then they take it to another level. In other words, they don't know how did this happen? Like, why did this happen? And we live in a world where a lot of people are blinded to the fact, Matter of fact, let me start with this particular scripture. It come to mind. I always do this. I don't know why. What is it? It is spirit. 2 Corinthians 4. I said I want therefore seeing we have this ministry as we have received mercy, we have faith. Actually, that's not the one I was looking for. No, yeah, it's 3. But we have renounced the hidden things of dishonesty, now walking in the craftiness, no handling the word of the Most High deceitfully, but by manifestation of the truth, commanding ourselves to every man's conscience in the sight of the Most High. So we out there to present a blameless ministry to the world. Because in reality, what can they really say about us? That we faithful nuts? That we people that have taken the old ways, the archaic ways of our forefathers? And what's wrong with that? The same value that you don't hold dear, now the same value that you don't hold dear, you're crushed in whatever ventures that you're in. And that's a problem with these people. People will just go with the fads. They don't have no standard. So it's not far-fetched for them to sit there and say that everything's declining around them, because they themselves are declining. All right? They just go with the flow. They never stood by anything. When we go on, it says verse 3, but if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are lost. So what we have the 100% truth. All right, don't fault us, because we knew this was going to happen. We've been telling you for a long period of time that these things that's happening is not for the benefit of anyone. That we are in exact hell. We in a position in this society where we don't want to be in. No right person in their right mind wants to be living in America thinking that you're going to build many generations, because this is the end. All right, we already see what's going on. Men with men, women, children are subject to the worst possible things in life. All right, and there's nobody there to stand up to fight that off. So when the truth came to us at the beginning, we wanted the world to understand what we saw, but it was not given to them, and we accepted. And then when we go through the things that we're going through, we also accept the fact what we're going through is for our benefits. And now, the same benefits that the Lord gave unto us, He has not given that to the world, and they can't handle what's about to come. All right? It says, in whom the God of this world have blinded their minds of them which believe not, lest the light of the glorious gospel of Yahushua, who is the image of the Most High, should shine unto them. So there's nothing for them. All right, they just like the scriptures, the Lord said, let the dead bury the dead. They're just dead, walking dead people, what the society will consider a zombie. All right, somebody's actually dead, but their body's reanimated, and they only can function by eating. That's this society. That's these people. They blinded by the God of this world. So when they thought they was doing right, when they thought that they were in a position of far greater than their fathers, all right, they fooled themselves. All right, Proverbs 30, 31, 30 and 11, I believe. Yep. Proverbs 30 and 11 said, there is a generation that curseth their father and doeth not bless their mother. There's a generation that are pure in their own eyes, and yet is not washed from their filthiness. And this is that generation. All right. The surrounding cast, people that surround us, are filthy. They're disgusting. They vile. Yet they walk like this. The ish don't stink. So they've been in this delusional state for a long period of time. And then now they wonder why shit is declining around them. Because once again, you never stood for anything. You tear down everything that you had. You lived a lie your whole life. And these are the results of that. Since I mentioned that. Isaiah 66:4 says, I will also choose their delusions and will bring their fears upon them. So these people are in a delusional state, which goes into Isaiah 60:2, says, for behold, darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people. All right, darkness has covered the earth, but gross darkness has covered these people. So they're blinded to everything. They're blinded to the facts, what's beneficial. So I'm gonna read some of this. It says U.S. values in a sharp decline. And what values did the U.S. ever had? The notion of how they would tell you how America's so great and this, that, to the third. You have your enemies quoting and telling the world everything that you stood for, you do not stand for it any longer. This was supposed to be built on Christian values, but it never built on Christian values. And look how you treated your servants as slaves. All right, you had to own, and it's going into you Edomites. You had to omit many scriptures to have slave Bibles to justify what the acts that you were doing onto your servants. All right, and everything you did do was against the laws of the same scriptures that you so-called quoting against your servants. So this place never stood by anything, but what values were faced, that what the people saw, those things are completely gone. All right, it says America no longer find patriotism, all right, which is what? The love of their country. The love of the country was the last hyper fake love that happened of America was what? 9/11. Okay? 9/11, everybody became patriot. Everybody all of a sudden was proud to be an American. I hate that goddamn song. But everybody was on that tip. No longer they're there. All right? No longer do they recognize that. Because this whole woke movement, they tore up everything. It says religion. Let's not even get started with that. You can worship whatever you want in this God-forsaken place. But according to your one of your famous presidents, your beloved presidents, Reagan, said the Bible is the law of the land, right? And what law did America ever uphold that was biblical? Not one. It says children, and make mention of that. Not allowing boys to be with boys and little girls to be with little girls. Grown men dressed as women going to children's daycares and so forth as they grooming them. Okay? Children get kidnapped all the time. That's not even a cry about that. It says our community. The involvement of neighborhoods is all thrown away. But all these things that's being mentioned. It's not mentioning of you blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. Why is that? Because you never fit this society. Every time you try to adjust yourself to it, what are your slave owners did? What exactly what they did? They changed the game. What's that word they said? They said they changed the goalposts. All right. Every time you try to adjust to it, and look at the history of the 60s, 70s, and so forth, when so-called black men and Latino men was looking for jobs, they couldn't get a job to save their life. They was pushed. A lot of them was pushed to become your local witch doctor, which is drug dealer. All right. Or they was strung up on drugs. Took the fathers out the household. So none of these things involved us, but now it's hitting these people hard. It says the involvement important in the Wall Street Journal survey was found. It says the number of Americans who considered patriotism, religion, and other key American values important has fallen since the late 1990s, which is ironically funny because I always bring it up because the 1990s was hyper-sexualized. All right? Hyper-sexualized decade. It was more convenient to see sexual things than any other decades. All right, you had to sneak to see. Well, forget about in the 80s. If you was a child, you couldn't see nothing. All right, there was so much restriction. But in the 90s, it was just on everything that your heart could desire. You see it, television, and so forth. So it's funny how they make mention of the 90s, and then all of a sudden, because you have to look back at the Leave It to Beaver days, Happy Days. What was it? Happy Days. It was called. Yeah, that was the name of the show. You can see the American value then, what they stood for. They stood for family, a father, mother, son, daughter, dog, white. All these things. All that shit was thrown out the window. All right. It said plummet in the last 4 years, if a new Wall Street Journal poll is to be believed. Published on Monday, the poll found the percentage of Americans who say that patriotism is very important to them has fallen to 38%, down from 61% in 2019. And what happened after 2019? The pandemic. And when they tell you that your rights, you don't have no rights, if it's a a pandemic and that scale, then everything that you believe is shattered. And that's what happened. A lot of people didn't believe in the Most High because they believed in the doctrine of receiving. What's this? The scripture says? It says thinking God gain is godliness. Matter of fact, let me get that real quick. And that's how you show you these people are fake. All right. They never tell you that the Lord don't want you to have all the time. It says Isaiah. 1 Timothy 6 and 7. The point is further down. It says, but godliness with contempt is great gain. All right. With contempt. This is not a place of contempt. This place is of overindulging yourself. All right. That's what the scripture said about Babylon the Great. They live deliciously. Okay. Wanton. It says, for we brought nothing into this world, and certainly we will carry nothing out. And having food and raiment, let us be therefore content. And this when television really became a fixture in households, what was being pushed was more indulgent. And I always bring it up because I was born in the 80s. I remember a show called The Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. Okay? The lifestyles, and they would show magnificent mansions, all right, castles and so forth. People that had everything. Okay? The 80s was, for what I understand, looking back, was there was pretty much there's two classes at the time: the have and the have-nots. And the haves would flaunt what they had. So when you was a have-not, you was left to just contempt. So whatever you had, but they kept pushing. You need more and more and more, right? But they that will be rich fall into temptation and snare, and into many foolish and hurtful lusts, which is drown men in the destruction and perdition. For the love of money is the root of all evil, which while some covet after, they have erred from the faith and perished themselves through with many sorrows. But thou, O man, let's see. Yeah. But thou, O man of God, flee these things and follow after righteousness and godliness, faith, love, patience, and meekness, which is not found here in America. All right? Because they have you believe that gain is godliness, which is supposed to be in this chapter. Hold on. I just want to get to that point. You know what? I'm sorry. Well, I guess I'm ready. Let me read it again, because 1 Timothy 6. Oh, okay. There it is. Slakios, the fifth verse. It says, perverse disputing of men of corrupt minds and destitute of the truth, supposing that gain is godliness. From such withdraw thyself. So this idea of gaining, all right, building up your finances, that God is with you, has been a staple in American value. All right, Slaki about that. That was one of the main staples of American value. Because when 2019 happened, when people lost jobs and lost wealth, a lot of people became disenchanted, or they show their true colors, and like they never really believe in the higher power. All right, and that's a fact. It says second verse. It says, published on Monday, the poll found the percentage of Americans who say patriotism is very important to them has fallen to 38%, down from 61% in 2019 and 70% in 1998. Religion has fallen in importance, with 39% listed as very important, down from 48% and 62% in 1998. So you notice the trend, it was always going down. It says, and just 30% of Americans now consider having children very important, down from 43% in 2019 and 59% in 1998. Back in 1998, 47% ranked community important as I said, involvement as very important, a figure that rose 62% in 2019, both falling to 27% in 2023. Only money has constantly increased in the importance of, with 43% of Americans ranks is very important, up from 41% in 2019 and 31 in 1998. Now I did not read this prior to doing this show, but it proved what I just said, the spirit, which we all know, that these American pieces of shit is all it cares about finances. Okay, and this is how the elites have the minds of the people, and the minds of the people are warped. They're in total darkness to believe that God is that paperback, which they're about to switch it up on them, and that's why they're gonna do whatever it takes to have it, that money. As much as changed in the decades since the first such poll was taken. The buoyant economic of 1990s evaporated with the dot-com crash in 2000. The 9/11 attack were followed by disastrous war in Iraq and Afghanistan, expansion of national security state at home. 2008 financial crisis caused widespread economic emissions. Barack Obama's second term saw explosion of woke identity politically, and the election of Donald Trump led to seemingly irreversible political polarization. That polarization is evident in the survey. Republicans ranking patriotism, religion, having children higher than Democrats' community involvement. It's slightly more important to Democrats, while both groups consider money equally important. The divide is widest on the idea of patriotism, with 59% of Republicans consider it very important compared to 23% of Democrats. While the major political and historical events of the last 2 decades may explain the fall in these values, critics pointed out that the polls methodological may be blamed. Previous versions of the same survey were carried out via telephone interviews with 1,000 adults, while latest iteration was carried out online. So you could tell, like, we in a rapid decline, which we see every day. All right, there's no value, there's nothing for people to stand on. Everything that people were standing on was a lie from the very beginning anyway. That's why the scripture says, matter of fact, before I get to the next one, 2 Ezra 6:22, I believe. Let me get to the point. 27, it says, "For evil shall be put out, and deceit shall be quenched." So what we're seeing now, the deceit is lies, is being quenched. As for faith, it shall flourish, corruption shall be overcome, and the truth, which have been so long without fruit, shall be declared. So the kryptonite for this society's great decline is the truth. The truth of his morale, the truth of why it was from the very beginning a land of blood and lies. Nahum 3:1, it says, "Woe to the bloody city, it's all full of lies and robbery. The prey departeth not." So this is a bloody city. All right, America, which They coined them themselves. 10 different districts. It's a land full of cities. The average person is a citizen. All right. So this is nothing but a giant place of cities. So the scripture says, "Woe to the bloody city." It's creeping up to you. Everything that you have done is creeping up to you. Now, what was happening to Jake, so you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, is happening to the oppressor. Now they want to cry foul. Things are not looking good. Okay? This is all full of lies and robbery. Because this land was stolen. Blood of the Native Americans is established in here. Alright? This is nothing but a bloody land. And the scriptures tell you that if man sheds other man's blood, but that man who shed the blood, his blood should be shed to be cleansed the land. Them numbers tell you how we were supposed to come into the land. All right. So this whole establishment has been a dark path. There's always been a darkness in America. And now more and more the elites are hyped at doing things such on a grand scale of things. It's hard to keep up. And they purposely destroying the same land that these idiots love so much. All right, things has changed rapidly. Another derailment. Poisoning water. Food is poisoning. Everything about this place is just wicked and dark. It says, "And the prey departed not," which are the same people who was preyed upon, Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right, and I'm gonna get this. I have to get this. Job 10 and I started 21. It says, "Before I go whence I shall not return, even to the land of darkness and the shadow of death, a land of darkness, as darkness itself, of the shadow of death, without order." All right, and that's a key thing. This place has always been out of order. Everything we've been saying through the Spirit of the Lord, all the complaints, everything, and you start to see it. Like, wait a minute. People try to look back and say, this was the best time. And you look back, that was never a good time. Especially for Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, which are the biblical Israelites. It's never been, this has been hell from the very beginning for us. All right. So it never had order. So a place without order, which is nothing but disorder. So this why, and now the disorder is catching up to everything. Okay, it says, "And where light is, as darkness." So everything that these people was thinking that they was in the right situation is in pure darkness. Look how these people raise their children in pure darkness. All right, this man has completely turned things upside down. Not in the sense of what has happened in America, is what the laws that the Lord established in the earth. He's turned everything upside down. Isaiah 24. So let's start at 1. Yeah, I'll start at 1. It says, "Behold, the Lord maketh the earth empty," which is a future prophecy. All right, the Lord's about to shake this place up to the very core, to the very foundation. Not only America, throughout the whole four corners of the earth, billions of people are going to die. It says, "And maketh it waste, and turneth it upside down." All right, and scatter the inhabitants and scattered abroad the inhabitants thereof. So Esau turned things upside down, and the Lord's about to turn things right side up. The Most High is about to scatter everything. Wickedness is about to be quenched in the earth. All right, and Scripture tells you that if wickedness is spread like a green bay tree, that all of a sudden it shall be no more. All right, it says that it shall be as the people so with the priest as with the servant, so with the master as with the maid, so with the mistress as with the buyer, so with the seller as with the lender, so with the borrower as with the taker of usury, so with the giver of usury to him. So all classes of men, women are going to be affected by this. All right, the land shall be utterly emptied and utterly spoiled, for the Lord hath spoken this word. The earth mourneth and fadeth away. The world languisheth and fadeth away. The haunted people of the earth do languish. The earth also is defiled under the habitations thereof. So everything that this man's passed, this cup that he spread, this virus that he spread to the four corners of the earth, the result of that is defiled. Let's look at, when you look up the word defiled, which the Hebrew word is kanap, to profane, to be profaned, be defiled, be polluted, be corrupted. All right, to be polluted. These places have no value. Be godless, and that's what this is. America has always been a godless country, even to the false god that they worship. But now more than ever, everybody's become their true nature, and that's the working of the people that's on top. All right, it says to pollute, to make profane, make polluted, make godless, cause to be defiled, and that's what the people did. The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof. And whose is earth? Esau, Edom. Job 90:24. The earth is given to the hand of the wicked. All right, he's the one that makes the light darkness. Why people think the way they think and do the things that they do. Everything that we see now is a manifestation of what they do in the darkness. And now this weird world that we live in, people try to adapt to this weirdness because deep down inside they don't want to be left out. And why they don't want to be left out? Because they have no confidence. They don't have nothing. So they take full advantage. There's many a praise in this society. And all this does is just weakens whatever value this place ever had. It had no value. Now we see the manifestation of its true nature of this place. The natural way of this place. It says, because they have transgressed the laws. What laws? He's talking about the laws of the land? No. The laws of the land always change. That's why you have amendments. That's why you have a Supreme Court. They change things. All right? It's talking about the laws of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, the laws of life. Okay? They broke those laws. Men with men, women with women. All right? It says, change the ordinances to change the order of things. All right? That's what an ordinance is an order. The Hebrew word is kawak. Statute, ordinance, limit. Something prescribed, do. Prescribed task, prescribed portion, action, prescribed oneself, prescribed do, prescribed limit, boundary, enactment, decree, ordinance. So what was the decree? The laws of the world. All right, I mentioned a couple of things. Also, the land Sabbath says broken the everlasting covenant. Therefore, the curse devoured the earth. So what's really going on in the planet Earth today is a curse. All right, it's a curse. So the planet Earth, as we know it, because of the rulers thereof, is cursed. So what's the next step? Destruction. That's why the earth itself is fading away. It wants to die off. It wants to be destroyed because the curse is heavy on it. These people are in great darkness, man. And there's the only light they're gonna see is the nuclear light when it flashes, and that'll be it for them. It says, and they that dwell therein are desolate. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burned and few men left. And that's the results of what's going to take place. All right. So yes, people are starting to realize that they're going to realize there was never no value. Okay. Never no value. Everything that everything that's been listed in this short little, in this article, was been lost and never stood by anything. And then we are that constant reminder. And that's why the results of this place is what? Is going to be burnt to a crisp. This land is done. All right? Stick a fork in it. The indignation, the wrath of Heavenly Father is going to be focal point on one region of the whole planet Earth. One region. And that region so happens to be Babylon the Great. So with that being said, shalom to the elect of the natural, shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel. Shalom.